Coach Mo.
Hey, it's Coach Mo.
Hey, it's Coach Mo.
Knowing what you want to accomplish professionally is just the beginning. I'm Coach Mo, and this podcast is for young professionals and emerging leaders who want to lead, achieve, and succeed at work. You've got executive ambitions and the drive to get there. Join me for perspective, insights, and thought-provoking questions that only you can answer. Today's episode starts now.
Tuesdays with Coach Mo.
Hi, it's Coach Mo. Every high-achieving professional can reduce the toll that workplace challenges create for them. How, you ask? By managing their self-talk. And that's what today's episode is all about, negative self-talk. You know, self-talk tends to show up as either positive and supportive or negative and defeating. By managing your self-talk, you can reduce the burden this inner voice places on you. Many of you know exactly what I'm talking about. As I've heard from coaching clients over the years, their inner voice says things such as, "You're not as smart as them. What makes you qualified? You don't have the right experience." Yet because you are a high achiever, I believe you've successfully navigated this inner voice before and are capable of doing it again. I recently heard Jack Canfield, one of the authors of Chicken Soup for the Soul book series, share a piece of research information that kind of shocked me. What he shared was how many thoughts a person can have in one day. In fact, let me first invite you to answer the question before I give you the answer. What do you think, on average, people have how many thoughts in one day? Is the answer A, between 5,000 and 7,000 thoughts a day? B, between 50,000 and 70,000 thoughts a day? Or C, between 500,000 and 700,000 thoughts a day? So what is your answer? A, B, or C? Well, the answer is B, 50,000 to 70,000 thoughts per day. Now, what's really frightening is that he went on to say that about 80% of the thoughts are negative. Think for a moment. When negative thoughts turn into negative self-talk, consider for yourself which of these following things are going on within you. Like your heart rate speeds up, your blood pressure jumps up, or possibly you begin experiencing increased feelings of depression. All of this, he says, contributes to even your muscles becoming weaker. So the biochemistry effect of negative self-talk, isn't that enough to say, I have to take some action to do something different here? What I want for all of you is success. Success resulting from the motivation you have for moving yourself forward and being the leader you want to be. Let's face it, working in large organizations, workplace challenges are inevitable. Here you're going to have a wide range of people with diverse backgrounds, life experiences, perspectives, biases, and opinions. You're almost certain to be headed down the pathway for some sort of conflict or misunderstanding. Yet, it's how you respond to all of these instances that either derail you or keep you moving forward in a positive way. I once had a client share with me that she struggled to speak up in meetings because of her negative self-talk. She said it was so loud. She'd hear this inner voice say things like, "That idea's dumb, don't say that." Or, "If you say that, it's going to make you look like a fool." A technique I've learned about is to give the negative self-talk some sort of a nickname. By doing this, you associate it as being an identity that is apart from you, and as a result, less threatening. So to illustrate a point, let's consider 3 workplace scenarios. 1, the boss seems to ignore you. 2, a new colleague seems to receive some extra special star treatment. Or 3, your direct reports are disrespecting your authority. For each of those scenarios, let's give a nickname to that negative self-talk. So How about negative Nelly? So to that first scenario where the boss seems to ignore you, negative Nelly can be in your head saying, she hates you. Or the colleague seems to receive that extra special star treatment. Negative Nelly is saying, hey, he's better than you. Or your direct reports are disrespecting your authority, and negative Nelly is saying, they don't think you're qualified for the job. Well, in all of these instances, negative Nelly, if left unchecked, can start to undermine your confidence and may start you believing in this negative self-talk. You know, to this very point, I recently heard Dr. Adam Frazier, he's author of the book Third Space, say that too often we become the thing happening in our head, and this can derail us from moving forward. So where does self-talk even come from? In Psychology Today, an article writer said that self-talk combines conscious thoughts with unconscious beliefs and biases. And in fact, this is an effective way for the brain to interpret and process daily experiences. This self-talk can sometimes be positive and supportive, or can be negative and, yes, self-defeating. As an executive coach, I've worked with hundreds of professionals just like you who have executive ambitions and want to lead, achieve, and succeed at work. The experiences of negative self-talk that I've heard over the years is broad and varied. Yet one thing I believe to be true is that negative self-talk, if left unchecked for an extended period, has the ability to take up much more space in your mind than it really deserves. So, for example, I've seen it send some people into overdrive, working extremely long hours, all to somehow prove their value. And by doing this, they convince themselves that they're drowning out the sounds of their negative self-talk because they're just so busy. When in fact, they're working hard, going in a circle, and going nowhere. Certainly not moving forward in the direction they want to go. Also, I've noticed extreme cases of exhaustion where professionals are just stressing themselves out, and that oftentimes leading to careless decision-making. And then there are others who experience their negative self-talk, sending them into a state of paralysis, and they take no action, finding themselves just stuck without a drive or a will to get anything done. A former client, Vanessa, reached out to me to let me know she'd just accepted a new director position with an organization and was managing a 7-person team. She wanted to discuss my coaching product, Working Strong in the First 90 Days, which is designed to support leaders as they transition into a new role. After being in the new job for about 4 weeks, Vanessa felt she couldn't commit to the Working Strong product because the demands of her new job and responsibilities at home with a spouse and an 18-month-old daughter were just too great. So she went on to tell me that she'd be fine and that she was enjoying her new role. I wished her well and told her that she knew where to find me if she needed support. Fast forward 12 months later. Vanessa has now contacted me not to share the joy and success in her new role, but to let me know that she had been fired. What began as a promotional opportunity and a success story quickly evolved to a situation of disaster. About 5 months into the role, she was confronted by a coworker about the overutilization of a shared resource group. The coworker felt that her team's work was not being prioritized or completed in a timely manner because of the multitude of requests being placed on the shared resource by Vanessa's team. As a result, Vanessa told me about this unpleasant exchange that happened with this coworker, and she said that she responded with a very sharp, very direct, I felt somewhat attacking as she described it to me, manner is how she addressed this coworker who was taken aback and just quickly left the conversation. By month 6 in the new job, someone in another department told Vanessa that her boss was speaking negatively about her to others in the organization. Come to find out, that coworker with whom Vanessa had that unpleasant exchange with had a very deep, close relationship with Vanessa's boss. The rumor mill began churning. And in short order, two of Vanessa's direct reports started treating her differently and even became somewhat dismissive of her and began reaching out to Vanessa's boss to get answers to their questions. Vanessa quickly lost confidence in herself, and the volume of her negative self-talk just grew louder, as she described it, continuing to tell her over and over again, "You're not qualified for this job." And she started to believe the negative self-talk. She didn't know how to fix this problem. Professional distancing by her direct reports, her boss, and her colleagues was taking place around her. She didn't trust her boss anymore. She hadn't made the time for building an internal support group. She actually lost the energy and confidence to advocate for new ideas she once had for the team. And as she put it, "I felt I was just in survival mode." She was stressed, not getting good sleep, and struggled to make time for herself. When Vanessa did reach out to me, she said she wanted to re-engage in coaching. From her previous experience in working with me, she knew that coaching was a safe place for her to sort through her thoughts and her behaviors that contributed to the situation. So by now, a few months had passed since her firing, and she was done being a victim of the situation and was ready for moving forward. She said that when it was apparent that things were going south, she told herself she could fix it, when she was really not equipped to handle the negative self-talk that kept her stuck. She didn't want to burden her husband with the realities of her situation, and she didn't want to tell her family and friends who were so impressed with her earning this big promotion. She felt stuck. So, using various coaching tools and resources, she slowly began to recapture her confidence and eventually prepare herself for another job search. One important piece of work for her in addressing the negative self-talk was the workbook Taming Your Gremlin by Rick Carson. I had presented her with this and a couple of other options. She did her research and made this selection. So we combined coaching and her working through this workbook. And here she increased her awareness of the negative self-talk, particularly knowing how to identify the triggers for when it gets kicked into overdrive. More importantly, she now had methods and activities for coping with negative self-talk, such that it doesn't take her hostage and rob her of the talents and skills she possesses. So, new points of awareness for my client is that yes, she decided she was in fact capable of getting to the other side of this difficult workplace situation. She gained the perspective that she is much more than one incident or one job. You know, challenges happen in life and they don't define you. And now for the segment Coach Mo Knows. First, assessments are a valuable resource to help you regain clarity on your strengths and the leadership skills and traits you possess. Just rediscovering the language and insights about you in the perspective of you as your best self. This helps you to provide clarity in planning and giving shape to your future focused planning. This may even provide you with language as you develop positive self-talk. Second, some additional resources for your consideration. I've mentioned the workbook, Taming Your Gremlin. There's also a book titled Negative Self-Talk and How to Change It by Shad Helmstetter. Or visit online mindtools.com. There's a blog post titled Turn Off the Negative Self-Talk. And there provides additional insight and perspective. And then third, if you are in fact experiencing frequent self-talk that's either destructive or dysfunctional, please do see a professional for treatment. In closing, I'd like to share a testimonial I recently received from a client in the banking industry. And in review of their coaching services, here's what they said. Coaching is slowly teaching me the ability to see through the noise of various situations, which allows me to sit back and evaluate more objectively. Before, I took everything at face value and made it personal, which clouded my judgment. As her coach, I really appreciated hearing this feedback from a client because so often individuals don't recognize the depth of their challenge till they start to make plans to overcome it. So thank you for listening to Tuesdays with Coach Mo. Please subscribe, like, and comment, and let me know if there's a topic you'd like me to address in the future. Until next time. That's a wrap for this episode of Tuesdays with Coach Mo. Showing up here tells me you're willing to invest in yourself and your career. Get additional resources at TuesdaysWithCoachMo.com. Please subscribe and leave a review. I'd love to get your feedback. Till next time, this is Coach Mo signing off.
Tuesdays with Coach Mo.